Spoiler alert, this video may contain plot points from the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. Those who have been living under a rock for 100 years, you have been warned. Watch at your own risk. Regardless of my bad comedic principle though, it's been a while since I've touched this movie, but believe me, I did make my mark on it. And so, I'm going to revise my theory on it. If you don't know, a revised theory is where I take one of my much older theory videos and I really improve upon it in every way that I can. And this one's getting redone because of the robot voice in the background, which has held people back from it, and the tiny plot holes I left in it. Ever since I made it, I felt the need to improve on it, so let's do this. Hello, I'm the Theorizer. Let's start the revision by, like always, re-explaining my old theory, and believe me, it's a good one. Although it does take some considerably large leaps. Is Oz a real place, or is it all Dorothy's dream? At first glance, her trip is widely considered to be a dream. I mean, come on. There's magic, she gets knocked out by the window, Oz has parallel characters to her friends back home, she wakes up on a bed, and the flying house isn't ripped apart by the F5 tornado. So right off the bat, basically everything we have pushes all of this to be a dream. But there is one nearly impossible detail to come across which flips the board completely. All of the Kansas characters have doppelgangers in Oz, right? The three men back on her farm are found as the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion. Each doppelganger pair are played by the same actors, and both characters each have similar traits. Professor Marvel is the Wizard of Oz, same actor and the same character traits. Her mean neighbor is the Wicked Witch of the West, but there's only one person other than Dorothy who doesn't have a parallel, and that would be Auntie M. You could easily argue that Glinda the Good Witch is her parallel, except she isn't. She doesn't fit the pattern. Auntie M and Glinda are played by different actresses. Their traits slightly differ as well. Some believe that the reason Glinda was played by a different actress was because the producers wanted someone younger, but here's the thing. Glinda's actress wasn't even a decade younger than Auntie M's, and the kicker is the difference in their characters. The closest character M could be is the dead witch beneath the house, and of course Dorothy is the one doing the traveling and wouldn't have a parallel. Know why? Well, I'll come back to that. We need to quickly address something else though. Coraline, the Wizard of Oz, and Alice in Wonderland. I constantly compare these three movies and have dissected them so in-depthly that it was hard for me not to notice something so striking. Each story is sort of based off of the other. They all star an independent, young, female protagonist who travels to a magical and fantastical world where they meet characters who are identical to their friends back home. All three stories leave the audience wondering whether the whole trip was a dream or not. In the parallel world, things start off as magical and amazing, but slowly get more and more dire and spooky. There's always a lovely old mentor woman that loves the main character, but she's revealed to be a lying, manipulative, antagonistic old ruler of the whole land that has a nasty invested interest in the protagonist they were waiting for to come. In Alice in Wonderland, this old hag-bag would be the Queen of Hearts. In Coraline, this would be the Beldam. But in The Wizard of Oz, well, we don't know. We need someone who starts off nice, but slowly begins to manipulate, lie, and get things real dire at the end. They must be female and significantly older than the female protagonist. They must be the primary ruler of the world as well. One would immediately jump to say that it's the Wicked Witch of the West, of course, but here's just the thing. She has a parallel back home, the neighbor. And thus, she isn't a real character that lives in this world. She is a doppelganger who was created. Look at how she melts because of water, like a wax creation of some sort. How am I the first to notice this? And notice how the mean green nutcase never lies to Dorothy like the pattern states. She never mentors her, she's always evil right from the get-go. She didn't expect Dorothy to arrive either, but do you know who did? Glinda. If Glinda follows the pattern, and she does, then she should be the true villain. And she is. In Coraline and Alice in Wonderland, who starts as the kind older woman, but lies? The future antagonist. Who doesn't have a real parallel back home? The future antagonist. This is escalating in the creep factor by the second. In The Wizard of Oz, who forces Dorothy to go on a quest to find a useless wizard, to only reveal the truth of the slippers later, after Dorothy nearly died? Who lied about all of this? Glinda. Who has magic that can bring a house in one piece through an F5 tornado? Glinda. Who could have created the doppelgangers of Dorothy's friends by spying on her? Glinda. And who shows up right after Dorothy's house somehow lands directly on one of the villains? Glinda. She's one nasty bitch. So why forcefully bring Dorothy to Oz? The big thing we're missing here is the motives and the plan. Why bring Dorothy? To let the Wicked Witch kill her? Then why'd she let Dorothy return home at the end? What is it with Glinda and Dorothy? And here's the conspiracy bomb I have planted. Glinda let Dorothy go, sure, but only after Dorothy systematically took out Oz's other 3 rulers, the Wizard, the Western Witch, and the Eastern Witch, leaving Glinda as the only one left. The secretly nasty, evil ruler of Oz, taking out the other 3 to leave her as the true ruler. But why get Dorothy to do it instead? Well, Dorothy is the perfect independent female heroine for the job. And if someone else does Glinda's dirty work, her nice, pretty, non-sinister image will be kept in the eyes of the Munchkins, the only real inhabitants of Oz, who were only terrified by the evil witch who attacked them. The good witch swoops in, saves the day, and nicely sends the heroine home. She's fit for the ruler in their eyes. She's also rather careless and cruel. She desecrates the Eastern Witch's body by shriveling up her legs. She then taunts the Western Witch about her sister's death, and begins to condescendingly make fun of her. But then later in the movie, take a look at this. Simply notice how odd it is that the wizard leaves in an uncontrollable hot air balloon. He just floats up and away out of control. It's so bizarre. And we see that the Tin Man was the one who let the rope go, letting the balloon just fly away, and that really makes no sense. He knows what he's doing. Dorothy has literally just jumped out of the balloon, and the Tin Man unties the rope from its post and lets it go, just like that. It's so weird. There is no explanation unless he's a villain of some sort, or someone is forcing him to do it. And the only magical person left in all of Oz who could control him would be Glinda. And this is besides the fact that he is likely her creation anyways, so naturally he'd be obedient. But then Glinda shows up one scene later. She was right nearby the whole time, so we know that she'd have a part in all of this. Need I remind you that after the wizard gets into the air and Dorothy asks him to come down, he says he doesn't know how the balloon works? Really? Then why the heck does he have one? Let alone, why would he plan to take it up in the first place? Either he's a pure idiot, he's villainous, or he's obeying someone else. And guess what happens? Yep, Glinda shows up right after. Such a nasty woman. Her plastered on face is so frightening now, not that it wasn't before. I mean, just look at it. She looks like a foundation fondue. Good God, woman, you look like a Fisher-Price toy. But I still hear you saying, Dorothy woke up in her bed, how could she have taken a trip? And to that I say, she didn't. It wasn't a dream. She did actually go there, but not physically. Oz is a place, a real one, and it was her spirit, not body, that traveled there. It's still a very real, very heinous land. But why the doppelganger friends? Why would Glinda assume their significance? Well, they were intentionally put there to aid Dorothy on her quest. Notice how bizarre it is that Dorothy walks down a perfectly set road and right past the 3 people that she just happens to know from home. They are there to further subliminally reassure her to take out Glinda's other creations. They are there to push Dorothy to fight for something other than herself, to really force her into doing things like finding the wizard and killing the witch, to let the Munchkins see Glinda as a fitting ruler. This manipulative maniac. She seems very adamant about becoming a ruler. I mean, just look at her flamboyant crown. That thing could reflect gamma rays. And the Green Witch dies from melting due to water, sure. But even though she's fake, that water shouldn't be enough to melt her. I think Glinda aided with that a little bit. And finally, the reason Dorothy does not have a doppelganger. She's the only one who is traveling to this world. She's the one Glinda needs to do her tasks. She's the only person without a parallel, meaning this so-called parallel world has an anomaly. Something rather strange, don't you think? Well, it isn't strange when you consider my theory. And because I'm sure there'll be plenty of skeptics out there, I still have so much more evidence that Glinda is the villain trying to manipulate the Munchkins. Back when we first meet Glinda, we see something odd right off the bat. She steals the Eastern Witch's shoes and then puts them on Dorothy's feet. But when the Western Witch arrives and wants the slippers, Glinda has put protection on them. The witch can't steal them. And this is all the stuff we see happen. But then, when the witch gets angry and says she wants them, Glinda tells Dorothy,
"Keep tight inside of them. Their magic must be very powerful, or she wouldn't want them so badly."
She's acting like she doesn't know what the shoes are capable of, right after she has stolen them and put them on Dorothy. And then at the end, she also reveals what they do. So why play it up like this? Why act so blissfully ignorant? Skipping ahead to the death of Greenie, the witch says something odd as well. She says,
"You cursed brat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world! Who thought a good little girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness? Ah, look out!"
It's almost like she's acting up, trying to melt. And I mean, duh, of course she's acting. It's a movie, but that's not what I mean. The woman who plays the Wicked Witch of the West, she changes in this scene. And she never changes her acting style anywhere else in the whole movie, just when she's dying. And it isn't her acting either, it's the way it was written. How odd. Skipping ahead again to a different part, we see another strange thing. When the Tin Man asks Glinda why she didn't tell Dorothy about the slippers earlier, Glinda's excuse this whole time is that she wanted to teach Dorothy a lesson. And what was that lesson? It was not to stray far away from your home, to not wish to go over the rainbow. I'm not buying it at all. Although this so-called lesson she taught her does have a certain effect, as if she's implying that Dorothy dare not return to Oz. Creepy. But hold up. Hold up. Glinda said that she was trying to teach Dorothy a lesson. Two things. One, how the heck would Glinda know that Dorothy needed to learn anything unless she'd been spying on her? And two, what if Dorothy hadn't come here at all? Glinda withholds the slippers from her to teach her a lesson, but none of this makes sense. It just doesn't even come close to adding up. The only two explanations for any of this is, one, that it's a dream, or two, it's everything I've been saying it is. And with the countless new chunks of evidence I've been presenting for the past 10 minutes, it's now more likely than not to be a real trip. I also have more on Glinda's lies. She says whenever she suddenly appears, it is because she was called by the Munchkins. Okay. So first of all, how the heck do they call her? And two, that's a blatant lie. The final time she appears is right when the balloon flies away, but nobody could have called her in that short time. No Munchkin calls her. They all stay right there, watching the balloon. Yet she shows up directly after it floats off. She was there the whole time, and she's a liar. And I have one final huge piece of evidence that it was Glinda who brought Dorothy here. When Dorothy is using the shoes to warp home, Glinda waves her wand over Dorothy's head. It isn't the shoes at all. Glinda is using them as a distraction. Look at her wand in this clip and tell me that she isn't the one teleporting Dorothy. And do you know what this means? She's also the one who brought her in the first place. And why is she pinning her magic on the shoes? Once again, to convince the Munchkins of her queenliness. I don't know how much more I need to give to convince you. Just take one good look at Oz after this video and you'll see just how surreal and ridiculously over the top certain aspects are. And it's not due to the way it was shot, directed, or written. It's because of the underlying plot. So that is my extensive, sort of, maybe a little bit out there take on The Wizard of Oz. I know tons of people question my mindset when I theorize on almost 80-year-old movies, but oh well, everyone's seen them, so everyone can relate to my ideas. I hope you enjoyed this theory of mine, I sure do. Why not check out my other channels, one where I game, and one where I tell an intricate story that needs to be pieced together. Until next time, I'm Glinda!